Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the week again. It's Fact Sheet Friday. We'll start off today. We've got 4 fact sheets to go through so I can take my time on these. We'll start off today with fact sheet, what was it, 21A? Oh boy, there are a lot of fact sheets this year. Which has the Krone Big X 1180, the new shaped Krone Big X 1180, which has the a cool little thing this thing does is the cab is actually telescopic. The cab itself, so you can see it's actually in the raised configuration there. It does also crush down so that you can actually get into it. Really nice to see this in game. It's a forage harvester, 515,000 to buy, so quite expensive. 1,156 horsepower, so yeah, it's quite a big engine. 1,290 litre fuel tank, top speed of 24 miles an hour, 40 kilometers an hour. It can do hay, I think that's hay, maybe grass. Oh, that'd be grass. Grass, forage, or chaff, I think it is called. I'd call it forage, but grass, chaff, and wood chips, so there presumably will be a wood chip header for this. And you can change the wheel brand, the wheel setup, and the pipe length, as well as having standard or wide tyres. As well as that, you've got the Krone X-Collect 900-3, which is the header there, the corn header. 120,000 to buy. So this setup here is 635,000 euro in game. Quite expensive, not cheap at all. It's a 30-foot header or 9 meters. It has a working speed of 10 kilometers an hour, 6 miles an hour, and of course it's for corn. Now, a few things worth noting in this picture here. As we go over to the one without the fact sheet itself on. We'll get to this in a second. This little setup is actually the next fact sheet. A couple of things worth noting. Number one, the lights are on, which is always nice to see. I think they're on. Could just be the sun reflecting off. Number two, the beautiful shine off the chrome. The I think it's metal coated in plastic or some sort of weather protection material at least. The corn going into the header, the insane amount of detail on the header itself, the different rows of blades, and of course something that I've kind of been intentionally ignoring, the Mitas tyres. So this will have the Mitas tyre option, or Mitas, whichever it is. And this is the 960 or 42, so 42, I think it's a 42-inch radius. I think the radius is measured in inches. So quite big tyre in the front, and it's the R30 on the back, 710/60 R30 on the back. Again, Mitas. And John Deere, it's the Trelleborg tyres. We'll get to this in a second, because that is not a 6R or an 8R. Anything else worth noting? The material here, I think, is in real life like plasticky, I think. So it's nice to see that it looks distinctly different from the metal. I think maybe it could be a bit shinier. I don't know if it is shinier in real life, but I kind of feel like it looks a bit dull. And again, I'm willing to believe this is taken in the morning, because it's just easier to take screenshots in the morning. Definitely it's either the morning or the evening. And of course, with the Big X, we had the John Deere 7R series, which I think a few people, including myself, were dead convinced wouldn't be in game, because the 6 and 8Rs kind of fill up the full range between them, but this is going to be kind of a crossover tractor, I guess. It is a tractor, 238,000 to buy. Engine options between 269 and 352 horsepower. This is the 7290, so this would be the 290-ish horsepower version in this picture. 545 litre fuel tank. Top speed 31 miles an hour. You can change the wheel setup, wheel brand, and engine setup, obviously to allow for the different horsepowers. And the wheel options are standard. Wheel weights, wide tyres with wheel weights, twin wheels or rear twin wheels. And I think this is the version... It looks like there's a wheel weight in the back, so this might be the standard or the wheel weights version. And as well as that, you've got the Stroutman Aperion 3401 trailer, 65,000 to buy, 52,000 litre capacity. And you can change the wheel brand on that, but I can't really see any wheel brand being visible there, so I don't know, can't tell you if it's Trailerborg. I'm going to assume it is. And of course, it's a trailer, so it can carry pretty much all the trailer things. I'm not going to go into detail. Let's go on to the high res, so that we can zoom about here and have a look at the beautiful grille on the John Deere. The somewhat opaque grille that you can kind of see through and see the radiator there. Always nice to see. It's actually genuinely nice to see the actual radiator itself and kind of the front bits of the engine there. As well as that, the seat suspension, the suspended seat. Here we've got the AdBlue and fuel tanks. I would be willing to get... This is maybe the AdBlue tank. It looks like it might be a toolbox though. But there's definitely a fuel tank there as well. The really insanely detailed suspension as well on the Deere, and the... Am I correct in saying this, that these are the locking pins for the front 3-point? Like, that's something that seems pretty new to me. On the John Deere, nice big open pipe on it, so I'm sure there's going to be some people very happy. Green Star on top and a CB radio, CB aerial, which there's no guarantee these will actually work. I think they're just kind of detail work on the tractor, but it's nice to see them there nonetheless, because it is something that you kind of expect to see on a 7R. As for the trailer, can I see what wheel brand these are? Trelleborgs. Again, it's really nicely detailed. You can actually see a bit of the detail of the chaff thing. Forgotten the word now. The chaff going in there. You can see the wire meshes are very clearly defined, and I think there might be a bit of dirt on this one, or there's something in the background that's not quite visible in well, because the trailer's there. But again, just the level of detail is insane. You know, the individual bolts being kind of visible, being modelled in, the individual little rivets there and the trailer itself. But let's move on, because I'm not going to harp about these for too long. There is as well, actually, I've just spotted in the John Deere, that red thing there is the hammer to break the rear window or the sunroof, should you actually need to break a window to get out of the John Deere. So that's a nice bit of detail, as are the pedals. Which, you know, you kind of expect the pedals, but it's still nice to see them visible from the front. Next up is the FENDT 700's Vario, visible, pictured here in the 724 configuration. It's a tractor, believe it or not. 180,000 to buy, 165 to 200 horsepower, 240 horsepower even, 400 litre fuel tank, top speed of 50 k's, 31 miles an hour. You can change the wheel setup, the wheel brand, the engine setup. The front you can put a front loader attacher on it, and you can change the main colour. Can you turn that into a Black Beauty? That'd be really nice if you could turn all the Fendts into Black Beauties. And the tyre options are standard, wheel weights, wide tyres and wheel weights, narrow tyres, twin wheels, rear twin wheels, and communal tyres we still haven't bloomin' seen. And on the back, we'll get to the picture itself in a second. On the back, you've got the Annaberger Fieldliner HTS 31.06 trailer, €69,000 to buy, 55,000 litre capacity. You can change the wheel brand, the wheel setup, and whether or not it has a cover, or maybe the type of cover it has. And it's basically a silage trailer, but you can put like grass and hay and straw in there as well. Over to the high res, where I can talk about this a bit better. Over to the high res, thank you. So the Fendt has Trelleborg tyres on again, as does the trailer here. But the real kind of takeaway, number one, the Fendt paintwork looks like really quite astonishing. You got the computer in there. Fence are kind of noted for being really highly automated, which is a bit unusual in agriculture. You know, there's a lot of tractors that still have manual gearboxes. Fence are all vario, which means they've all got CVTs, they've all got computers, just everything is computers. It's kind of unusual among tractor brands, although things are going more in that direction, you know, as time goes on. On the front here, or on the side I should say, you can see the fuel tank here, the big tank, as well as the AdBlue tank, which is the much smaller opening there, which seems to be a larger tank, so I may have got them backwards. But the 724 isn't really the star of this picture in my eyes. It is very nice, and I'm sure Dusty Dave will be very happy to see his beloved Fendt 724 in game. But the star of this picture really is it's more here. This thing, the Anna Burger. Because what this is basically a chaff overloader trailer. You can see the two hydraulic rams there that lift the back end of the trailer up. It's not visible in the picture, but I can tell you for a fact that this thing has a walking floor, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to unload. You can see the hydraulic lines coming down from the... I don't know what this is. Oh, it doesn't have a walking floor. I apologize. I do apologize. I was wrong. Because what these two hydraulic rams are the method by which I would assume the chaff is pushed out of the trailer by this mesh. I think. I might be wrong here. It's just the way that it looks there. It looks like those two hydraulic rams actually push the chaff out by pushing the mesh. Although that might... I don't know if that would work, actually. I may have been right the first time around. It's either got a walking floor or that's a pusher. Up at the top here you can see it is open. It is overloading into the Crampet trailer here. We'll get to that as well in a second. And yeah, again, just new vehicle, completely new kind of trailer to the game. Just never before seen. And it's incredibly well detailed. The 724 almost looks... I'm sure it's a new model for Farm Sim. Even though the Fendt 700 was in Farm Sim 17, it kind of looks almost a bit flat by comparison to the Anna Burger. So I can't help but wonder if maybe that's the exact same model from FS17 that's been brought forward, and maybe this might be a comparison of the quality of models between the old game and the new, but I don't want to say that for sure, because I'm pretty sure, in fact, that I'm wrong in saying it's the same model. It's just the same tractor with a new 3D model to suit the new game. Because I think I heard someone say somewhere that Giants were just redoing everything. Like, everything was going to be a new model, even, like, especially the stuff from FS13 and 15 onwards. Or before, I should say. But moving on to the next picture, it is the MAN truck, the MAN TGS 18500 4x4. It's a truck, costs 130,000, 500 horsepower engine, 400 litre fuel tank, top speed of 80 kilometers an hour, 49 miles an hour. Which, by the way, that limitation is there for Farm Sim. Basically because, and I'll be blunt, while the real truck can do much higher speeds than 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, it doesn't make much sense for you to be able to do much more than that in Farm Sim. I know people out there like mods that have a top speed of 160 miles an hour or something stupid. But, you know, game balance wise, 49, 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour is all you really need. And actually, just as a little technical point, 80 kilometers an hour is exactly 50 miles an hour, so the fact sheet is off ever so slightly there. Or at the very least it rounds up to 50 miles an hour, it doesn't round down to 49. This coming from somebody who's had to do mile to kilometer conversions while Ireland was changing the speed limits from imperial to metric, so take that and keep that in mind. As well as that, you can change the main colour, the rim colour, and the wheel brand. Myself and Landy Kid were talking about this the other day. We can't for the life of us figure out what wheel brand is on this truck because it looks like it's been obscured. I kind of think these tires look like Firestones, even though I know they're not. Like, this is the brand here. This much I have figured out. Whatever these letters are, and I think they're obscured intentionally, and I'm gonna call Giants out a small bit. I think this is intentionally low resolution textures so that the wheel brand stays a secret for now, because it's gonna be in like next week's fact sheets or something. On the back, there's the Crampa SB230 or SBII or 11 or 2. One of those three is correct. 30/1070, so I'm guessing that's II, which is 2 in Roman numerals. It's a trailer, 78,000 to buy, 59,000 litre capacity. You can change the wheel brand and the wheel setup, which presumably means you can put wide tyres on, I guess. And it takes all kinds of trailer things. Now I'm going to swap onto the high res here and see if I cannot for the life of me figure out what that brand is. SYMMETRKAI? I swear that says directional symmetrical. That's not a wheel brand though. That looks like it says directional, and that the only word that makes sense here is symmetrical, so I think these are debranded tires. I think Giants are hiding the wheel brand that the Man Truck will actually have, because this says directional symmetrical. There's no actual branding on the tires, which there should be in theory. Looking at the rear tire, it definitely says directional. There's no branding on either side here. And this is probably the best look we'll get at the second word. SYMMETRICAL. Yeah, so it's directional symmetrical. Going back to the truck itself, because seriously, this has been for the last couple of days, because we got these sent to us on Wednesday as opposed to yesterday, because it was a bank holiday in Germany yesterday, and we were asked to keep it all hush-hush until today, what was actually in them. Although, as always, I give you guys little hints as to whether or not these are good, or, well, whether or not I think these are interesting. I think this last fact sheet is the least interesting of them all this week, I'll be honest, because, not to, like, knock it, but the Man Truck has been in the game already. It's in FS17, and the trailer's been in the game already. Every other fact sheet this week has had something brand new, if not 2 brand new things. So, going by that standard, this is a bit of a kind of a come down at the end, although maybe a new model of Man Truck. It's still just a Man Truck in you know, a truck is a truck is a truck, where Farm Sim is concerned. If this was Euro Truck and it was a brand new truck to the game, then I'd be a lot more excited. But let's have a look at the details of this. You can see it's got the mesh, or mesh grills, metal grills over the windows, the lights, because this is an agri truck. It needs these so that the stones and whatever don't hit into the lights and break them. Primarily big stones, which are more likely to break things. It has, comically, it's got the lights fully protected. These are the radiators right here with just a small mesh grid in front of them. I would have imagined this would all be kind of meshed out big time. to protect the radiators, which are much more fragile than some lights. You can see it does have a front hitch right there. Moving up, the man is all chromed and beautiful. New hat on the armor right there. Let's see the beacons. We've seen a lot of different styles of beacons. This has a CB radio as well, as a truck probably should. Nice bit of detail work down the side here. I like that. And the believe it or not, a truck has quite a large fuel tank. As for the trailer, it's, again, without kind of coming across as mean, a bit of a fresh coat of paint on something that's been in the game already. But, you know, everything deserves a fresh coat of paint, so I'm not going to knock the fresh coat. But in terms of fact sheets, you know, this has been in the game already. It's full of chaff, which has been unloaded into it from the I need to zoom out to go back. From the Anna Burger. Yeah, here's the same trailer, and presumably the truck is just in front of it. One thing I will say is this here gives a really good impression of what the new material system can really do. Because you've got the sun kind of glaring off the side of the trailer as a whole, because it's not kind of solid metal, but then you get the side of the truck which is solid metal. Or the kind of the side of the trailer is just a sheet of metal, but when you get to the corners of this and the rounded edges, you can see the light isn't just glaring, it's kind of forming peaks, like here, 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 here. You know, it gives a lot more definition. You can, even if I zoom in, you can see the light kind of defining the little borders between the sheets of metal. So that's really nice, and it's not as visible on the back of the truck because it's just flat, basically. Though you can see a little, you know, the line of demarcation between the flat and then the curve there. So that's it for this week's fact sheets. I think they're really interesting. How have I nattered on for 22 minutes? I think they're really interesting. I'm gonna let you guys go because I've nattered on for far too long, and I apologize. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.